Thank you for joining me today. We'll be using our mats today in a more passive stretch. It's called yin. So we're making this space inside, giving up what we think should be happening and just allowing what is going on within the body, the mind, just to find refuge, to find rest here. And in the rest, find release. So like anything, it takes practice, right? So let's practice in our safe space, in our 2x6. And what has kept me coming back for the last almost 10 years is the realization of, like with anything, over time, it will become easier. It will become almost part of my day, like waking up and, having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, brushing your teeth, that kind of thing. You just incorporate yoga, and then yoga starts to become, how you do certain things. So today it gives us an opportunity just to notice, to self-inquire any physical sensations in the body, and we meet those sensations with not only compassion, but clarity. And we will breathe big, even though it's very passive. When things bubble up, just be mindful and let's get started. So again, this is yin. I invite you to take a moment, grab a pillow from your bed, grab a blanket off the couch. If you have blocks, great. You might not need them. If you don't have blocks, we'll use that blanket. When it's time, we'll roll it up and stick it under our bodies just to make the ground a little bit closer to us. So we'll get started. Let's get started in child's pose. It's one of my favorite poses to start in. It just feels good. It delivers a sense of peace and calming because it is so grounding. If you think about us walking around all day, we're standing upright, right? We're rooted with this, the four corners of our feet, right? And so when we ground, we're almost grounded with the entire body. Rest here. So your big toes are touching, your knees can be narrow or your knees can be wide, and that's completely up to your anatomy and up to you. And if you notice, I'm wearing long sleeves. If that feels good to you, it's just nice to be cozy in this practice because this is a passive practice. And for some, it might come off a little bit slow. I know, especially for me, I have extensive training in power vinyasa. So when I come to a more yin-like practice, there is always the variable of being very uncomfortable, being still. But it's useful, it's part of the practice. In doing so, we're getting into the deep tissue and the fascia, and to get anywhere near that, it takes at least 3 minutes. So just notice when things start to bubble up that maybe tell you, I don't like this kind of yoga, this isn't for me. Just listen and notice, send it on its way, and keep releasing, keep opening. All right, so if you have a pillow, place your pillow right in front of you, and slowly start to lay your top body over your pillow. And this is where we'll be for the next 5 minutes. And I invite you to close your eyes, to use your breath as a guide. And we'll set up the breath together that we'll use for the entire practice. I will exit this pose, but I want you to stay there, belly down, chest down. On your next inhale, take a deep breath in through your belly, ribs, chest. And exhale, release, chest, ribs, belly. There's no forcing, but there is a fluidity that opens up from here to here, and then the wave comes back down. All right, again, inhale, big breath in. We're filling up your belly like there's a balloon. In fact, I want you to pick a color, and that's the color of your balloon for this practice. Breathe in. And breathe out. Deflate your balloon that sits at the base of your belly. Beautiful. Let's take 2 more together. Deep breath in. Feel that wave of breath come in and down. It hits the base of your belly, and then it starts to expand. Your ribs move east to west. Your heart lifts. Exhale. 1 more time. Big breath in. The breath comes in, hits the base of your belly, expands, opens, and exhale, soften. Energetically, your spine is lengthening every time you inhale, and every time you exhale, you're softening down into your pillow or into the earth. I'll give you some time here. We have about 3 more minutes in child's pose, Balasana. Using this pose as a self-inquiry now, I want you to feel any space in the hip creases that are giving you some tension. So a big part, stay where you are, a big part of yin is to finding the tension and releasing all muscular engagement. So take a deep breath in with me. On the pause, pinpoint the tension, and on the exhale, release all the muscles that are holding that tension in place. Beautiful, let's try it again. Breathe in. Pause to find the tension. Exhale, release the muscles. There we go. So for your next minute in this posture, I want you to try to switch to that passive role that yin plays in a practice. This practice, this yin, is enhancing the natural range of motions in your joints. And a lot of time, the hip joints is our weakest joint. It's the one that holds the most tension. It's the one that is the most rigid. Send your breath there in this beautiful posture, child's pose. Beautiful. Flicker your eyes open. Let's push our pillows aside. If you took a pillow, I invite you to remove it. Next to your mat, draw your knees together, plant your hands. So that was a yin. Whenever we come out of a yin, we move into a yang, so it just means a little bit more movement. So we'll take a couple cat-cows here. Inhale, open to cow. Exhale, tuck the chin, tuck the pelvis, cat. Again, inhale to cow. And exhale to cat. Taking a few moments here to set an intention for this practice, for what you want to get out of a more slower, passive yoga. I am safe. Breathe in. I am grounded. I am right where I need to be. Come to neutral neck and neutral spine. We'll cross our ankles behind us and we'll come all the way to seated. So again, grab that pillow. And this time we put it behind us. So we're moving into a pose called saddle pose. And we'll sit on our shins. So you're sitting on your shins and you have that pillow, or maybe it's a blanket, a rolled up quilt. And if you do use a blanket, I invite you to fold it hamburger style and then to roll it to your degree of where you need it. So this would be about the size of a bolster. All right, so from here you sit on your shins and you lean to the back of your hands. And if this is already too much for your knees, you could totally skip this pose. This is a little bit more intense, but I think we all can go here. It's just a lot on the quads. So depending what you've done this week, you may or may not feel okay here. I'll give you something different to do in a second. So you slowly lower yourself onto your back. You're keeping your low back in an exaggerated arch. So we are arching quite a bit here. And if your quads feel strained, rest your shoulders and head on top of this bolster. So you don't need a bolster. If you're doing this at home, maybe try it with a bolster first. Remove the bolster to see, where your flexibility is. Always be gentle, always go slow. All right, and you can allow your knees to start to spread apart. If there's too much pressure on your ankles, you can also place a towel under your ankles. All right, so from here, we just start to engage our abdominal muscles and lean back. And again, this is to your degree of flexibility. The more the knees draw out, the more the low back will get a little bit less intense. So if you want to keep your knees together the entire time, that's fine. Just don't push into any pain. Remember, we're trying to let go of almost all muscular engagement in these postures. So anything where we're tense and we're, super exaggerated, or we're feeling that tension, especially in the lumbar, the low back, we need to find a release here. So separate your knees if that's you. And we'll be here for about 5 minutes again. I'll exit the pose, but I invite you to stay here. If it feels safe for you today to close your eyes, know that closing your eyes is an option. And I recommend it in yin because it does make the external world kind of fade out and we are completely internal. And if for some reason that felt terrible for you, we move into butterfly pose. So your feet are together, your heels are together, and your toes are together. Make a basket, stick it under your feet, breathe in. On your exhale, slowly start to fold forward. Beautiful. Relax your upper spine, let it round, and rest your head in the arches of your feet. And if you can't quite reach your feet, stack your fists and place your crown of your head right on your top fist. So you're either in butterfly pose or you're in straddle pose, whichever one served you today. Remember, your breath is fluid. It's unique to you. We're trying to match the inhalation to the exhalation. And 5 minutes sounds like a really long time. And it kind of is. And discomfort will bubble up. Vulnerabilities will bubble up. But we try to condition ourselves to sit here with intense sensations and thoughts. We're training ourselves to be okay being uncomfortable. I remember when quarantine first came into my life, I was almost paralyzed with fear because I was like, oh my gosh, how are we gonna do anything? What's our normal gonna look like? And I had nowhere to run. That is this practice. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to be. Sit with what's coming up and out and hopefully through. And just know that the more you practice, the more comfortable it will become to sit with discomfort. We have about 3 more minutes here. If you need to shift around, now's the time to do it. If you need to fidget out of the pose. If you took your right palm on top of your left, let's switch for butterfly. Forehead to top palm. Last minute here, being okay with how you're showing up, letting the breath become fluid. It is a celebration. And if you start to think of yin as a meditation, it changes the practice. 30 more seconds here. That's only a couple breaths. Breath is deep, breath is fluid. Any places you can soften around the edge of those joints, the tissue, the place where the joint articulates. Inhale, pause. Exhale, release. Wherever you are, let's start to flicker your eyes open. So if you're in butterfly, just pop right up. If you're in saddle pose, wait for me as I get you out of this for our rebound. So we're engaging the muscles of the abdominals and then planting our hands on the mat beside our feet. Breathe in. On your exhale, tuck your chin, engage your belly. Now move with your hands to guide yourself up. Sit up straight. Beautiful. And then we'll turn to face each other. And before you do that, we're sitting up on our toes. So we're on like a toe stand. So your knees are in front, your heels are in back, and your hips, your sits bones are right on top of your heels. All right. Inhale, arms up. On your exhale, right hand grabs the left wrist. Let's reach it over as far as we can. Lateral flexion with the spine to the right. Peek underneath this left arm. Beautiful. Inhale, come back up. And exhale, reach to the left. Peek underneath your right arm. Again, breathe in. Exhale, right. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, left. Inhale, lengthen. Funnel in all that goodness, and on your exhale, grab your intention or your mantra, pull it into your heart space. Beautiful. Flicker your eyes open, plant your hands, and put the tops of your feet on the mat, and just give it a little tap. That was a lot on the quads, and that was a lot on the ankles, the toes, the arches of the feet. All right, wiggle out your toes. Perfect. All right, we'll face each other for half dragon. So I like to sit on a blanket or a cushion for this next posture. If you don't have one, or if you don't want to, that's fine too, but it just gives us a little bit of padding as we move into half dragon pose. So our right leg will be outstretched beside us, and we'll take this left foot, it'll press into our inner thigh of the right leg. All right, and scooch, make yourself comfortable. All right, so your pelvis is above your knee. Does that make sense? Your pelvis is above your knee if you're seated on a blanket. All right, so move your left knee back a few inches, and if the knee does not rest on the floor, place a cushion under it when you exhale. So essentially, you want both of your knees pretty close to the ground. All right. On your inhale, we're bending our spine over our right leg. So you might need to twist your torso, pull your right hip point back, left hip point forward before we move down. All right. Inhale, lengthen through your spine, and exhale, fold. And again, if this was a vinyasa class, we would be reaching for that foot. We would be seeing how far we can get our nose to our knee. But in this practice, it's not about how far we go. It's about what we learn on the way down. Modifications for this pose. Please stay here if this feels good for you. Modifications for this pose, grab a textbook or another rolled up blanket, all right? And you can place that block under your left knee. Okay. If this still doesn't feel good for you, grab that pillow, and you can place one on either side of your right leg, or maybe just to the inside or the outside. Again, check the anatomy of your body. Make the practice work for you. If I put mine on the outside, I don't think I'd feel it as much. So maybe on the inside. And again, the closer you can make your connection to the earth, whether it's bringing the earth up to you, the easier that it's going to be to start to hone in on where that discomfort's starting from, because we're using the weight of the top body to get into the fascia and the deep tissues of the right leg. We have about 3 minutes here. Soften your eyes. Use your breath as a guide. It is your greatest teacher. And you'll find that as you start to breathe through these poses over time, about 30 seconds at a time, you can move a little bit deeper, safely, always safely. Never push into pain. But you inhale, lengthen. On your exhale, sink, release any muscular engagement that you're still clinging to. Non-attachment to thoughts, to poses, to the practice. Being okay exactly as you show up today. 2 more minutes in this pose. If it feels safe for you, I invite you to close your eyes, move inward. We have 1 more minute here, noticing any habits. Notice any thoughts that are looping, recognizing that 95% of our thoughts are the same thoughts we had yesterday, much of which are entirely untrue. So just notice where the mind goes. Bring it back to the present moment by evoking that deep belly breath, filling up your balloon, belly, ribs, chest, deflating your balloon on the exhale, completely pushing stagnant air out at the base of the belly. 1 more time, big breath in. On your exhale, release and soften. Beautiful. Flickering your eyes open. Let's slowly come out of this, and I mean slow, like you're moving through molasses. Really, really, really slow. All right, if you took a block underneath your left knee, remove your block. If you took a bolster in front of you or behind you or a pillow, remove that too. So staying where we are, we move this pose right into gate pose. So we'll place our hands in front of us, and I'll need to scoot back because I've scooched way off my mat. Remove your blanket too. All right. So this left leg that's underneath us, we're moving to the knee. So the points of contact with the ground are the left knee and the right foot. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, sink and soften. So you're the letter T. Breathe in, flip the front palm, reach up and back with your left hand, rooting all the way up to the diagonal where the wall meets your ceiling. Beautiful. Beautiful gate pose. Parigasana, you can take your hand to your shin, anywhere but the knee. And let's take your gaze down for 2 breaths. Beautiful. Let's take it up for 2 breaths. Nice. Coming out of this, we'll close knee to knee and move right into the left side. I hope we're doing okay. If this is your first yin practice, I know that it's a lot. I know that these poses aren't easy. And it's definitely not natural to stick in a pose for over 3 minutes at a time. But you are releasing things that were stuck. I promise you that. All right. So resituate. We have the left side for our half dragonfly pose. This time your right heel will kiss the left inner thigh. Using a block to make your knee closer to the ground if you need it. If you don't need it, don't use it. And then take your pillow somewhere along your left side body. Side leg. All right, turn your torso towards your left leg. Breathe in. And your right knee is down. Exhale, fold forward. So this side is way tighter. I'm not going to be able to recline down to my pillow. That's okay. I go where I can. Take big, deep diaphragmatic breaths with me as we find space to breathe through discomfort, breathe through uncomfortable thoughts. And there will be times in your yin when you will have to resituate. You will have to fidget. That's okay. If you can get both hands on either side to straddle your left foot, awesome. If you can't, on this side I'm super duper tight, so it feels better to move inside the leg. Again, there's no hurry to go too far or too fast. There's just how you're showing up today. It's right where you need to be. Checking in with our breath. And that simple awareness, that awareness of starting your breath, taking the breath to the base of your belly and filling up your balloon, that awareness is the heart of yoga. Knowing that at any time, no matter how uncomfortable we get both on and off the mat, we can always evoke our breath. And in doing so, we are telling ourselves how powerful we are, right? Because we are in this space where no matter what's whirling and swirling on around us, we can always choose how we react, always. And it starts with a steady, rhythmic breath. Breathe in. Exhale. Release any muscular engagement starting at the top of the left leg, moving all the way out the toes. Beautiful. We have 2 minutes of breath here. Beautiful. We have 30 seconds left. See how much more you can release using those exhalations as like a magic tool where you let go of something that no longer serves you, whether it's the muscle contraction in the leg or a thought. Beautiful. Flicker your eyes open. Let's start to walk our hands up our pillow or our leg. All right, when you get to the top, and remember, take time to get here. Move your pillow out of the way. If you're seated on that blanket, let's rock forward. Push the blanket behind you. All right. So grounding points with the earth will be the right knee and the left foot. Let's hop up. Swivel that right foot behind you. Top of the foot is down. Arms tee out, so you are this huge open line of energy. Breathe in. Exhale, shoulders down. Flip your right palm. Inhale, reach up and over. And we're looking for that diagonal here. Where the wall meets the ceiling is where your right hand should be reaching. And your left hand is anywhere but on your knee. Look up for 2 breaths. Beautiful. Look down for 2 breaths. And we'll return back to center, kind of where we started, right? All right. So we did half of our dragonfly pose. Now we move into our full dragonfly pose. All right. So we're sitting up on our blanket again. So grab your blanket. And place your hips right on your blanket. And then find your bolster or your pillow. All right, put it in the middle. Both of your legs will move out. So we did the half dragon on both sides. Now we do the full dragon. And be mindful of overstretching. We're not here to cause injury. We're not here to bring you into like places of pain. We want mild to moderate discomfort. All right. So bring your legs into a straddle. Breathe in. And on your exhale, we start to bend forward from the hips. Place your hands either on the floor, or I like to use a pillow. And rest your elbows on either the floor, on a pillow, or a bolster. And if it feels natural, if it feels okay, you can keep coming on down to your belly. If your knees are unstable, if your knees are starting to really rotate inward, I want to tell you to come up just a bit. So we're not trying to force anything here. There is a very thin gray line of moving into discomfort and forcing into discomfort. Okay, so just listen to it. Be your own teacher here. Be really mindful of the energetics of the legs. Remember, we want to be comfortably uncomfortable, if that makes sense. We want to not be pushing, be forcing, and we don't want any tension. We don't want that like contraction going down the leg. We want to release. Breathe in. And breathe out. Beautiful. We'll be here for 5 minutes. It sounds like a really long time. I'm gonna be quiet, and I want you to feel the breath moving in and out of the belly, visualizing, this is a visualization exercise, is visualizing that color balloon, whatever color you chose, filling up on the inhale, maybe on the count of 5, and then deflating to the count of 7 on the exhale. All right, so inhale for 5, exhale for 7, 5 full minutes. Just a gentle reminder for your breath. Breathe in for the count of 5. Breathe out for the count of 7. Fluidity over rigidity. Choosing love for what is happening over what we think should be happening. Reminding ourselves of our mantra as we move through the last few minutes of this posture. You are right where you need to be. See if you can soften down for the last 2 minutes of this modification. If you have that pillow, see if you can move this into someplace new. Maybe you switch the direction of your pillow. If you took one ear or cheek to your forearms or your palms, switch directions of your face. pressure. Over time, sweet yogis, creates change. That's what we're doing here. We're opening and releasing for change. 30 more seconds of breath work here. Breathing in for 5. Exhaling for 7. Beautiful. Start to flicker your eyes open. Remember, we move really slow, rebounding out of these forms. Hands gently walk in towards your pelvis. Remove your pillow if you took a pillow. And we'll all need the help of our hands to our outer thighs to get our knees bent, because they might be a little bit stiff. They might feel a little creaky. All right, and when you get to the bottom of this pose, let's take butterfly. And not still, this time we start to fly. We move the legs up and down. Nice little rebound here. And then from here, we'll put our knees together and curl up in a tiny ball and put your forehead down to your knees, or maybe your nose to your knees. Flicker your eyes open, sit up really, really straight. Breathe in, and on your exhale, release your knees. All right, so you know that warm, cozy blanket I told you to get? Now is the time to find it for cattail pose. So it's a great spine torsion, helping releasing tension, especially around the lumbar, so the lower back, and quadriceps. So we've been moving into a lot of the quadriceps this practice. All good thing for hip opening and for hip flexors. Okay. So energetically, this is targeting the gallbladder, which is really interesting. All these, these postures, they're doing stuff internally to the organs. So let's get started. All the way down on your back. And I'm gonna push my blanket aside for just a second so you can see what I'm doing, and then I'll cover myself up to get cozy. All right, so we'll take our back down to the earth. And bring both your knees into your chest, breathe in. Tee out your arms. On your exhale, both knees drop to the right. All right, left leg will stay where it is. Right knee to the inside arch. Beautiful. So we're just finding a little opening here. And if you can catch this foot, right hand to the outside edge of the right foot, please go there. If it doesn't feel good, you don't need to catch the foot. We're just opening up. And at this time, if you would like to grab your blanket, you can put your blanket over you. And we're just getting a nice quad hip flexor release. I'll remove my blanket so y'all can see what we're doing. But at home, cover up. Feels good to be cozy. You are safe, you are rooted, you are right where you need to be. Let's take 3 more breaths here. This is a short one. Beautiful. We'll bring both knees back into the chest for happy baby. Hands find the outsides of your feet, and we'll rock from side to side. Drawing those knees towards the earth, breathe in, find stillness. On your exhale, knees come back together. All right, your knees into your chest. Big breath in. Big breath out. Tee out your arms. Breathe in. On your exhale, we'll roll to the left. So you can use your bottom bicep as a pillow here, or you can have your head completely down. It's just up to you. All right. We extend our top leg forward and extend our left leg back. So you have your right leg reaching forward towards me, and your left leg is bent, your left knee's bent. Right hand catches this left foot. And if it doesn't catch the foot, don't force it. Just stay open to receive it. One day you'll need it. And again, this left hand, it might feel better being out. You can look right in the opposite direction of your foot. This pose is called cat pulling its tail. And if it's too much to straighten this top leg can always be bent. Beautiful rotation. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Beautiful. Left knee will meet the right knee, and then we'll make our way up to knees to chest. All right, wiggle out here. Now we'll take blissful baby as a little yang to our yin. We'll rock left and rock right, your knees driving into the earth. Beautiful. Come to center, pull your knees into your chest, inhale. And exhale, soften. Moving right into the right side. So drop your knees first, and we'll take a twist over to the right with our torso. And you can use this right arm underneath your head. So extend the left leg out beside you, and you can extend it even on a pillow or a block. And this right knee comes underneath you, bend the knee, catch the foot. And we'll stay here for about 10 full breaths. You can look in the opposite direction of your left foot. You can also bend your left knee. All options. More breaths. Beautiful, and last one. Bend your left knee, stack your knees before you make your way back to knees to chest. Give yourself a big hug here. Forehead to meet your knees. Feet move up to the sky for waterfall pose. And we just hang out here. Maybe you shift the weight of the hips from the right to the left, giving your lumbar a nice massage. Beautiful. Pull your knees into your chest. Knowing that part of yin practice is to promote healthy joints and joint mobility, hands on your knees. On your inhale, open the hip joint. On the exhale, close. So the hip joint is a ball and socket joint, and over time, if we don't use it, we'll lose it. So we just give thanks for the mobility that exists as our joints and our bones articulate. That's a gratitude right there. Switch directions if you haven't. Beautiful. Bring your knees together. Let's all rock to the right. Opening up your left nostril, the right hemisphere. And then we'll push into the earth. And we'll get ourselves set up for a cozy Shavasana. So Shavasana is the most important part of an entire yoga program. There is nothing better than finding the stillness after the openings. So if you were imagining like this is the Dallas Marathon, okay? And you're running the Dallas Marathon and you are like 10 feet from the finish line. Leaving a class before Shavasana is like not crossing the finish line. Does that make sense? So we do it so our body can assimilate all of the postures and all of the breath work, and it becomes useful because it's part of your toolbox now, right? It's part of your consideration set when discomfort arises off the mat, and it will, right? When you want to react, it teaches us how to be a little bit non-reactive so we can maybe make better choices, that kind of stuff. Let your body assimilate. And now that we have all these cozy props, what better way to assimilate than in a nice, cozy, safe space that is your mat in your home. Put a block or a book underneath your pillow or your bolster. So you're setting up for a nice, juicy Shavasana. So we need a little elevation here. We're gonna end with a heart opener. Grab your blanket. All right. So your feet are about the width of your mat, maybe even wider than your mat, because we did a lot of hip work. So really wide with your feet. Grab your blanket, make sure your toes are covered. All right, and with that, at the base of your sacrum, the base of your spine, we just start to hinge from the hips, go all the way back. And you're out. There's nowhere to go, there's nothing to do, there's nothing to be. Breathe and rest. I'll be exiting this pose, but I invite you to stay here for 5 full minutes. I'll mind the time, and you'll hear my solar plexus sound bowl chime. This will signify the beginning and the end of your meditation. Your meditation begins now. slowly start to deepen and soften your breath even more. On your next exhale, I invite you to sigh something out and away. You are in the safe and comfort of your own home. Be as loud as you need to be as you breathe in. As you breathe out, sigh it out. And we'll just come to seated to close our practice, remembering that yoga gives us this beautiful opportunity to notice, to self-inquire about physical sensations in the body, and meeting everything that bubbles up with compassion and clarity. So it helps us breathe, be mindful, and in doing so it helps with the musculature, it helps with joint mobility, it helps with flexibility. Everything else kind of like falls in line. So we'll close, hands up, ready to give, hands down, hands up, ready to receive, hands down, ready to give. Close your eyes, inhale. On your exhale, shoulders move down away from your ears. I am safe. Breathe in. I am rooted. Breathe in. I am right where I need to be. Check in with any mantra that you made for this class, any intention that you started the class with. And weave it throughout your day. Arms at side body, gather up all this beautiful energy, funnel mudra, funnel it into your heart space. And then on your exhale, hands meet at high prayer, they come to your heart. From my heart directly to yours, all my love, all my blessings, and all my light. Namaste. Thank you for sharing space with me with this series. I'm so honored to guide you through yoga. If you have any questions, please email me, let me know. Make sure you find me on YouTube, and if I can assist you on your yoga journey in any way, I'm so happy to oblige. I also have left 2 guided meditations for you in this series package. Please get cozy. 5 to 10 minutes is all you really need. See if you can incorporate meditation into your week. Maybe start with 2. Move on to 3, and then over time you won't need a guide anymore. You can just sit down and meditate. But I'm here for you to assist you in any yoga needs. So please reach out. I love you all. Namaste.